Maxi Hughes defends his IBO lightweight title here at the Nottingham Arena by majority decision victory over Kid Galahad. This is Beyond the Bell. Myself, Ade Oladipo. Our commentators tonight, Barry Jones, Mike Costello. Mike, straight to you on this one. Did the right man win?
I think there's an argument that could persuade you either way, but for me, sitting close up at ringside, as I walked away, my overall impression was that the most eye-catching shots in a really difficult fight to score were thrown by Maxi Hughes. And it's interesting that the 1 point deduction that Kid Galahad suffered was actually key in changing the result of the fight, because it would have been, without that point deduction, one judge would have gone for him, one for Maxi Hughes, and one level. Therefore, it would have been a draw.
Yeah, one of the big questions coming into this fight, Barry, was there going to be any spillover from Kid Galahad getting stopped by Kiko Martinez? And there seemed to be. He got in the positions, but never let his hands go.
Yeah, and I do think that tends to be that he just didn't have the confidence in his chin to commit to shots. But also, you know, he stalks you. So as a featherweight, he was an imposing figure, a big shadow over you, and you felt the pressure. I just think as a lightweight, he didn't have the same effect.
Yeah.
So even though he was backing up Hughes never really felt intimidated. He never felt scared to throw a punch. And that's why he was so effective as a featherweight Galahad. You'd be afraid to throw a punch, you'd tense up, and then he'd make you miss, and then he'd pepper you with shots. I think, you know, I just think Maxi Hughes wasn't intimidated and let his hands go, and he would fully extend with the punches. And I think he caught again the eye-catching punches. From out of the retreat stance, pretty much, he would jump into three-punch combinations and catch Galahad and push him back.
What do you do now with Kid? There's 2 defeats in a row. Obviously, one was a knockout. One he was expected to win. He was expected to win it tonight. He was a big favourite. What do you do now? Do you still stay at the 135-pound division? Do you go down to 130? Do you just take some time out to reassess? What do you do?
I think it's really difficult for him because of how difficult it is to market who he is and what he is. And we've seen that again tonight. So often when we watch his fights, it's so difficult to score them. And so I think it's going to be very difficult from here for him to find a way through in the lightweight division in a way that can be promoted as anything remotely sexy.
Is it easier for now him to get fights? I mean, before there was this fear in fighting Kid Galahad. Now, after a couple of defeats, will other lightweights fancy it now, seeing that?
I don't think so, just because of the way he fights. That was a typical Galahad fight. You know, he just, unless he totally dominates, it's always tricky. Because what he does, he doesn't do anything. He forces you to do stuff, and then you end up doing nothing yourself because you know he's setting traps. So they end up fights like that. Who wants to be in a fight like that? So if you're on a roll on the way to being someone special, that fight makes you look bad even if you win.
Yeah.
No one looks, look, Josh Warrington, no one looks good when they beat Galahad.
No, it certainly does. For Maxi Hughes, though, I guess the chain keeps on rolling on, doesn't it? He wants that big fight next, and I think he deserves a big fight. If it is a big American payday, Giovanni Stathon to get the IBO title. He defended that against Ryan Walsh. He now has another opportunity in America, fingers crossed. What for him next? What do you think he should do?
Well, it's difficult to see right now what's going to be next. I mean, next month there's another undisputed fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos in Australia, the rematch of their fight earlier this year. I think it's almost certain that after that, these belts will break up again and all sorts of opportunities could appear then. He's already ranked with the IBF. I think he'll get rankings after tonight with other governing bodies, and therefore he might be seen by one of the champions, whoever that is, as a comfortable defence.
That was our main event. Our co-main event was an intriguing one just because of the weight jump as well. Terry Harper beating Hannah Rankin, now a champion at 154 pounds, which is crazy when you think she was good at 130. 154 is unbelievable.
Well, the weight wasn't a factor, was it? You know, we thought the size of Hannah Rankin might be a problem for Terry Harper, but she did fantastic. In and out with her feet. You know, the punch, she was the heavier puncher on paper, but at a different weight. But it was evident in the ring that she was the bigger puncher. And she, you know, I think she hurt Hannah Rankin on numerous occasions. The footwork, the change in direction, not allowing Hannah Rankin to set herself for 1 second. And I thought it was probably one of her best, if not her best display.
Yeah, what do you think she does? I mean, look, just off air, we was talking about Tasha Jonas, but you guys rightly mentioned she can go anywhere, right? 147, 140. She puts herself back in the mix now for big fights.
Yeah, Jessa McCaskill, the undisputed welterweight champion, taking on Chantelle Cameron. There's another big domestic fight, possibly. But I think we're learning all the time about women's boxing, the levels, and the weight-making process. You know, we've seen in the past Amanda Serrano in successive fights fight for a super lightweight title and a super flyweight title. It's very different to men's boxing, or certainly I am. We're learning all the time. But I do think, for me, the biggest and the best fight out there for Terry Harper is a rematch against Natasha Jonas, and I think that could be built into something really big.
It's crazy, right? I mean, they had a fight 2 years ago at 130. They're going to rematch as champions, one belt away from undisputed at 154 pounds.
Well, you just never would never believe it, would you, if you didn't see it? That's the truth. And they both look strong at the weight, by the way. They're not as if they sneaked over the line. They both won in impressive fashions. So, you know, they are now, you have to say, genuine, super welterweights.
Indeed they are. Good night here at Nottingham. Good wins as well for Solomon Dakers and Siobhan Clark as well. The train continues for Maxi Hughes. Hopefully he gets that big fight in America. The train for us, next stop is the O2 Arena. Big one. Born rivals Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, October the 8th. Make sure you tune in for that one.